All right.
We are live. We are live. And LC, just let me know whenever you're good to go.
Yeah, I'm just gonna get this thumbnail up real quick, and then I will be ready.
See, I'm spoiled. See, I'm like on Twitch this time. I didn't have nothing to do. So I'm like, hey, are you still taking? Oh, still doing it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are the days.
All right. Get chat pulled up. Go ahead and get it in Discord and everything. Oh boy. HD, how you doing? How you doing? I forgot to do an announcement. No, I guess I said at the end of yesterday's stream, but probably should have did a community post to say I was only gonna be on Twitch today.
I'm ready when you are.
All right. Sour, welcome on in.
There we go.
All right. Almost time for introductions. All right. Bergund's here.
How's it going, everybody? Happy to be here. Thanks for having me, Nice, and no one.
Not a problem, man. Happy to have you. We've had a lot of fun having conversations with current guild leaders and kind of their thoughts on the game and everything. Only so much I can hear from Nice about this game, you know. So we're
HD, thank you for subscribing, buddy. Thank you, man. Appreciate the support, buddy. All right. So, what episode are we on? I
42.
genuinely do not know. 42. All right. All right, everyone. Welcome to episode 42 of the Voices of Verra with myself, Nice Gaming, and Is There No One Else? And of course, you, the Voices of Verra. Today, we are joined by a very special guest. We are continuing our guild interview series where we take a look at various guilds around the community for Ashes of Creation, a game that doesn't exist but already has a lot of guilds and a lot of support and a lot of fans behind the product, like yours truly. Today, we are joined by a dwarf guild leader, and that is from the Coin Guild. I'll go ahead and let him introduce himself. And you guys stay tuned. We're gonna be asking a lot of questions, and we're gonna get into a lot of stuff. It's gonna be a good one. And of course, we'll have ways to get in contact with him if you would like to join this guild and everything like that. Cletian, welcome on in. I'll let you take it from here.
Thank you for having me. Yes, it's I, Bergund Iron Guard. I am the guild leader of the Iron Coin, and our tag is Coin. Yes, and the Iron Coin is a dwarven guild, as you heard. It's an honor to be here. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have. And yeah, let's get the show going.
Yes, sir. So if you guys are familiar, well, if you guys remember, I should say, there is another. I mean, I think there's technically a couple, but as far as one's currently on my radar, we did interview a different dwarf guild a while ago. So this will be another dwarf guild in Ashes of Creation, which I think is awesome. To have two themed guilds already. Very interesting. Laughables, welcome on in. Everyone contacts each other to stream at the same time. You got the Tavern in Lower Forge also streaming. Yeah, I mean, we've always been Tuesdays. Like, always been Tuesdays. I don't even know if anyone was doing Tuesdays when we started. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure not. So yeah, it just happens to work out that way. But it's really a good thing too, because we get to raid into each other. All the community comes together. We get to you get like a lot of dose of Ashes of Creation every Tuesday, which is a really cool thing. So that's a way to look at it.
Lots
So
of love out there for the Lore Forged and the tavern, the Golden Feather Taverns. Love
yes.
those folks.
And the way it lines up is, I think, perfect. I actually don't know what time Lord. I see them start at various times, but I know the tavern starts usually around like an hour or half an hour before us, and then like they usually raid into us, or they'll show it in as our start. Hey, later, buddy, upstairs. Uh, okay. Their show will like end as our start, so like basically you get like your copium like just spread out just like a whole marathon. It's actually I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I highly recommend both podcasts. Other podcasts besides ours, obviously. So both of them are really fun to watch. The Lore Forged, they have a bunch of really good discussions on their podcast. They bounce around. I don't know, like their schedules kind of like mix. Like it feels like they don't have a regular schedule yet. And then obviously, yeah, the tavern is right before us, and love those guys over there too, Chibi and Vertec, and they're awesome to watch also. So yeah, if you guys feel the need to go check them out, feel free to do that, and if not, we're happy to have you.
Yes. So let's go ahead and start off with some base things. So, Bergund, we know you're obviously a dwarf guild, but surely that's not what you guys are all about. Let us know like a good overview that gives you guys more of a story than just that. Like, what are your guys' principles, approaches, methods, everything like that?
Sure. It's a great question. We are a newfound Dwarven guild. There is a number of things that I think make us a little bit more unique than many other groups out there. And I'd like to just go from a personal experience, which is in MMOs, there's a lot to look forward to, and yeah, coming from previous experiences, there's a lot of things that make MMOs special, and one of them to me is the idea of being intentional with our time um, as players playing an MMO. So it's important to consider the value that comes from uh, being intentional with our time as players. And so how do you create that kind of value, and what does it mean to be a member of the Iron Coin? And those are, as I've created this group and been uh, joined by a number of people that I hold great value to. Um, I would say the thing that makes us stand out is this intention, this level of intention, in the sense that sure, lots of folks will have intention in their guilds. A lot of folks will have intention as they play games, but a lot of times it's overlooked, and it is sort of a blind affair to choose this sort of hobby, to play the next hot game, to consider how it all sort of blends together in a way.
Okay.
And so by speaking on the intention and the value, I think that the Iron Coin has, as a member, you might find value by practicing intention in what it means to be a member. So what I mean by that is the Iron Coin is a group that is interested in creating their own rite of passage
Hmm.
in this experience. And some may be asking what a rite of passage is, and in some ways, we experience them all throughout our lives, going through certain ordeals throughout our lives. School could be a part of that, and pushing ourselves as individuals through that experience to go through an ordeal and seek a a better or a better version of ourselves. Um, and there's ways in which it happens all throughout our lives, but we pretty rarely create them for ourselves.
Okay.
And so by inviting members of the Iron Coin into considering the way in which this becomes a rite of passage that we create for ourselves, um, there are ways in which many of the members of the Iron Coin already have gone through a certain ordeal and are looking for a way to not let someone else define their fate and take it upon themselves to move forward and improve upon themselves.
So about pretty much making sure your community, your guild is finding ways to grow themselves, not necessarily doing what they want, still helping with the guild, but figuring out what's important to them to help advance and everything like that.
Correct. And so how do I invite that into this group that is new to the scene and is looking for ways in which to possibly incorporate some sacrifices that they may have to make, and or to consider how they can add value to their experience playing games together. And so what we have created is a group of dwarves, yes, but one thing that I think will make us stand out and bring incredible value to the group and bring an incredible value, or I'm sorry, an incredible level of intention to the group is that we are actually an all cleric guild.
Oh, that's news. Okay.
And that has been unannounced to the community, the Ashes of Creation community, until just now.
Hot
And
scoop, you guys heard it here first. Make sure you're tuned into Voices of Verra every week. You never know what craziness you're going to hear about, all the secret guild tactics. Now you know how to plan for this going against the Iron Coin. You heard it here first. I'm sorry, go ahead.
that's correct. That's correct. Yes, it is hot off the presses. We are going to be a cleric focused group, and so that brings a whole lot of questions, I'm sure, but it also brings an incredible amount of value to a group of folks that are interested in PvP, that are interested in roleplay, that are interested in Ashes of Creation in particular, that are interested in bringing intention to the gameplay. And so, yeah, thought
Okay.
I would let that off the press.
Nice. That's interesting. I'll be honest. Um, I how do I say? I'm more first off, a guild full of clerics sounds gross, and I hate you for being smart enough to do that. All those heals over time, we don't know how heal stacking is gonna work. Ecliptian here says seems like PvP will be too hard. Will be hard with two. No, DPS cleric will be a thing, and it's typically always a thing in games, like a damage Templar or anything like that. We've actually talked about that in the main Discord. Like clerics are gonna have their DPS. We just haven't seen it because it's more important to show the cleric as a healer, and it's actually needed as a healer in these small showcases. But DPS cleric, a DPS that's able to sustain itself via heals is actually going to be a thing. I'm pretty sure we just haven't seen that part in its kit. Remember, they forced all the heals on that class during that showcase. I will say this before I get you to next question else. I will say this. I am glad you guys are an all cleric dwarf guild and not an all rogue dwarf guild, because I've always said that that's two different ways that it's going to be hard to find someone if they're a dwarf and if they're a rogue. So I mean, it could be worse.
So I can't believe we're having rogue slander right now when we have a dwarf ambassador here. Nice. We should be directing our jokes towards them. So
I don't like to punch it down.
you know, fair enough. So why are you going after rogues? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, what's up with that? Nice.
Um,
Do you got a grudge against them?
I mean, I would have went after the dwarfs, but they were such a smaller target. I didn't think it would be as easy.
you don't like how they talk behind your back. I see how it is.
Or under my kneecaps. I'm sorry. Let's move forward.
Yeah. So my question with you, yeah, we'll get serious here. Cleric only guild. It's really interesting. Obviously, like Nice and I have seen that work to great effect in other games where groups specialize in one specific things. It becomes a little bit harder to counter often because people like to have a little bit of everything, and if you have all of the same thing, like that can be an advantage. I have a question. Like, are you going to be steadfast in doing this, or if you get into Alpha 2 or in the betas and you see that their rock paper scissors mechanics are actually as severe as they talk about, are you going to change up and maybe make 2, or are you just saying no, we're cleric all the way?
Yeah, so it's important to make a decision like this this early on in such a open development experience that we're all going through for Ashes of Creation. It's and I think the reason I am so devoted to it this early on and encourage all who might be interested in joining to be devoted to their class, which would primarily be the cleric. Now, yes, there is the idea of the rock paper scissors system within the game, and there is an incredible risk to take in making such a decision when yes, there is a pretty interesting and worthwhile rock paper scissors system that Steven and the Intrepid Studios team has been working towards, and it is not to say that we will be able to necessarily do everything, because it is a somewhat limiting in content and somewhat limiting in DPS output and or the tanking abilities for a group of all clerics to be able to consider that. And so the idea is that by knowing what we can and cannot do, we also know how to work with the community, the massive community that's interested in Ashes of Creation. And so by I want to also try to keep up with the chat. Let's see.
Yeah, so Warrior's asking if it's yeah, so I'm curious. So you guys obviously don't demand you wouldn't demand a secondary archetype choice. So and that's where I was gonna get with it is you guys obviously are gonna PvE together as well. So what about dungeon comps? Do you feel that, as long as you have a cleric tank, that's going to be your tank for the dungeon, and then your healer, I mean, obviously cleric, or any kind of cleric. Then you got your DPS can be, I guess, maybe even clerics or cleric fighter or cleric mage, etc. Is that the approach? Is that hoping that the secondary archetypes are transformative enough to get you through the content?
Right, and so the idea, I wanted to touch on it a little bit more and then move towards this idea of dungeoning and other content available to us. With the rock paper scissors system and considering the secondary class, yes, there's going to be options for players to diversify what kind of cleric do you wish to play. And yes, the opportunity for a secondary class to create that diversity within the primary class of cleric. There will be ways, hopefully, to play within that rock paper scissors system, and in a dungeon experience for sure. Yes, the idea of a cleric tank, also known as an apostle, will be hopefully able to provide that tanking experience that we all imagine when going through a dungeon, and it is certainly exciting to consider how we may be able to, as as our cleric, tank, apostle class members are interested in tanking and interested in leading a dungeon or a raid or anything of that nature, there's the
Yeah.
opportunity for that kind of content to be addressed and that kind of combat experience to be provided. Uh,
Garza Millie says their archetype will be cleric, but can fill DPS and tank roles with the secondary archetype. Should be okay. Plus, they're playing the master race, so even more doable. Definitely. Yeah, that's one thing I've always been curious about, and that I'm hoping for. It's one of the things that attracted me to Ashes of Creation is that that secondary class means something. It adds something to your kit. I
Yes.
know it won't give you your active skills, but I hope it's transformative enough to warrant it being technically another class. So we'll see. We'll see. Fuppo says mobs will not see them anyhow. So because you're so short, they can just walk to the end of dungeons. Yeah, they're more harder to spot than rogues, I'd say.
and it's important to also consider that we aren't intending on doing and focusing the Iron Coin on all content that Ashes of Creation provides. And
Uh-uh.
so by considering that, yeah, a raid of
Just pure cleric. So what
just
content
pure
are you
cleric.
guys like really gonna focus on? Are you thinking like PvP?
Absolutely, yes. As much PvP as we can get our hands on, but most
Mm.
importantly, I think what our primary focus will be is caravan work
Oh,
and being able
mercenaries.
to provide, yes, mercenary work. And
Nice.
and so the Iron Coin really is becoming more of this. It has a lot more character at this point. It has a lot more intention behind it, and it has a lot more value, I think, for a group of people to be playing as dwarves. But yes, as clerics, behind this idea of
Later.
being intentional with your time and being in and bringing value to yourself as a member, but also value to the group. There's some really beautiful role play potential within that I think is exciting to start designing at this point, and we have quite an experience that I think will be valuable not only for ourselves but for the server that we decide to join.
So going off of this, I personally think that's awesome. Obviously, I love caravans. The caravan PvP system is one of the things I'm most excited about doing myself. As far as your guild side, I'm curious about how like you plan your kind of goal for your operation is, right? Because some people their plan is to be the biggest and the baddest and to spread as much influence as possible across whatever server they're on. So yeah, they're just going to be a mega guild and basically try to work that way. Other people like Nice and myself, we're kind of like we've more often been smaller scale, and so depending on what we can get away with, we'd probably be a smaller guild, not looking to just dominate everything. How do you envision coin, like if everything worked out the way you wanted and recruitment wasn't an issue at all, would you be a small, medium, or large size guild, and for what reason?
It's
Right.
small.
Yes, and no pun needed. It is actually a pretty great question to ask. In a lot of ways, being a um, limiting group of this nature, a lot of folks may see it as, well, how are you going to get the numbers? And I'm not sure that we're actually interested in a max level or a max population guild.
Nice.
And in I would actually prefer to consider limiting our group numbers because there's a lot of, hello, Phantom, good to see you out there.
Well, come on in, Phantom.
And yes, so I would say no more than 100 members, and possibly just consider that as our cap.
Okay.
Um, and the reason being is because there are the benefits that come from having a large group of players, and at this point in time, pre-alpha 2, pre getting to test all of these systems, and considering that with this intention of being an all group or an all cleric group, I'm thinking that we won't need more than 100 players to be
Okay.
able to consider our objectives and consider our scope and to consider what our intentions are as a group of all cleric dwarf players.
Let me circle back to a question that Garsamilli had earlier. And if you could, if do you have a Discord for the guild
We do,
or a
yes.
way for recruitment? Yeah. So if you
Uh,
want to go ahead and put that in chat, I'll go ahead and pin it for anyone that is interested in looking into the guild or anything like
well,
that.
actually, I would prefer that they message me in particular because the idea of recruiting at this point in time is uh, very intentional, and so I don't
Sure.
want to just make it an open invitation for
Oh yeah, definitely.
anyone in. It would be please DM me and message me, and let's start to have that conversation to create that intention and to understand the level of importance and whatnot for this type of group.
Fred says so.
Good.
He is trying to keep the numbers small, keep things minimalistic. Yeah. But that question that Garcia had, is the guild requirement cleric plus something else, or can it be something plus cleric? So I think I know the answer to this, but he's asking if what if he just does cleric as a secondary?
Right. And so that's a really wonderful question to ask. And um, from the onset, we have decided to be an all cleric group. And there, are ways in which, a secondary group could be formed from this in having a cleric secondary. But to be a member of the Iron Coin, yes, we are focusing primarily on having a cleric primary class and any secondary that you would like.
I love the short
Um,
jokes in chat already.
I know you can't go wrong.
Let's see. So before we get into some more guild things, well, actually, I have one more question before we get into some other stuff. When did the guild form? Like how new? I know you said you were new, but how new are you guys?
Yeah. So we were formed actually at the beginning of this year. So we are only a few months old at this point, and we have been, uh, I would say, beginning of March is when we really decided on these things and started formulating our idea and uh, getting on the same page with everyone within the group. So yeah, I would say
Okay. Just a
beginning of
couple of
this year.
months.
hmm
Okay. I'd like to divert for a second from the guild talk and bring attention to something that I saw earlier. For
Okay.
those of you that aren't aware, we do have a Voices of Verra Discord, which that's where that's our like I always say, Elsa and I have our own like Discords, but this is our like Ashes of Creation focused one, and of course a community around this stream. And it's just it's a good time, if you guys want to chat, bring up stuff. And there's also a section where you guys can preview what we're going to talk about. Yes, Phantom. And this is one of those things. So here, let me pull that up. So else I'm sure you saw it earlier inside the Voices of Verra preview thing.
Yep.
Steven dropped a
Oh,
little teaser.
I seen it.
It is looking lovely, and we are gonna take this one sentence and spend an hour breaking it down.
Absolutely.
Here, let me delete this one. There we go. And how do I do this? I'm sorry, I'm new to streaming, you guys. Make it so that you guys can see.
This is
There
episode
it
one,
is.
guys. We're gonna have some difficulties on episode one. So
Yes. All right, there you go. So Steven posted this in Discord today. This month's live stream is titled Midnight Magic. Do with that as you will. And we're gonna do everything to it. We're gonna do everything with it. We're just gonna go off the rails with this one. Else, let's start with you. What do you think? Where are you going with this hint of Midnight Magic?
So I think personally, I tried to do a little bit of research on the wiki before this, and there's nothing that really popped up. I think what this is going to be is a more in-depth look at the day and night cycle. And I think they're going to go, my perspective is I think they're going to go a little bit more into the night cycle with things that happen at night, like whether it's certain resources happening at night, whether, you know, certain undead creatures become more powerful at night, basically like that. So they kind of talked about how different creatures might be more powerful at night. There's different resources that only apply at night. And so I think that's the realm that they're going to dive into. I obviously don't know for sure, but I am intrigued. What about you guys?
So me, I was kind of like not sure where to go with this one. I was like Midnight Magic. It also made me think of like Blood Magic from the Tower of Carfin, but then I was like Midnight Magic. And
Sure.
so I just like you kind of went straight to like I was like, they wouldn't do something with the constellations, would they? So honestly, I don't think it's gonna be what it turns out to be, but I think it's gonna just be like a new area that we haven't seen in the Riverlands. Explored
Okay.
at nighttime. Maybe at nighttime the specific event happens. But that to me doesn't seem like what they would do. So I honestly, usually I have like a good take, and maybe I'll think of some guesses as we talk throughout this. But yeah, all I could really go from that is I'm like midnight makes me think of like shadow stuff and everything like that. I'm like, it's not gonna be rogue this soon. So I'm like, what is it gonna be? I'm thinking we're just gonna see a new POI. That's my final take is that it's gonna be a POI. Maybe even a new story arc involving this. Something that
Sure.
can only be triggered by doing a certain thing at nighttime. Maybe you can say something with the constellations, but my guess is that it's gonna be a POI. I don't know. That's the best I got. What about you, Bergen?
It's a let's see. Well, as Steven mentioned it, I was lucky enough to also be in Discord at the time and catch a few people throwing their ideas out there, and some folks in chat were talking about you know what makes midnight so important, and I was most struck by some folks bringing up the idea of lighting and how there had been hints in the past about lighting updates, and you know what yeah, constellations is another part that I was curious about. Like maybe we'll get to see more about that, because what I think the only example that we got was that creature in the sky and the sandal constellations. And you know, if midnight, but it's kind of just like nighttime. Constellations happen at nighttime, so why midnight? And what's magical about the nighttime in that sense? And so I'm hoping that it has something to do with the lighting that Steven has hinted at in the past, and so
Oh, that's
it's my
possible.
guess.
Before we catch up on chat's guesses on this, I just what if now hear me out. What if they really want to highlight that constellation system that we were talking about?
Mhm.
And what if you follow this constant? What if like obviously it's gonna be pre-rehearsed. They're gonna know what they're doing, but what if, we start off the stream, Steven in the group is adventuring, and there's a constellation like the one we saw in the day and night cycle stream, and it's like it's not a direct arrow, but it's like pointing in a direction. And so the team, they're fighting through this POI, is saying go this way, and then they follow the constellation. But what's cool about this constellation is that it changes. It's never in the same spot, it's never pointing to the same direction. And if you follow this constellation, that lets you know where this specific world boss spawns. I think that would be really cool. Like this boss spawns at night, or this dragon, right? And you have no, it's a super RNG spawn. No one knows where it spawns, but you got to follow this constellation to find it. I think that would also be a really cool little touch. That would that would have me hype.
Yeah, I would
For
just love to see more constellations.
yeah, see how useful they really are. Yeah. Laughables. I'm gonna get through these short jokes, I promise. Laughable says keeping things small sounds like an Iron Coin thing to do. Short term, small goal, says Fritz. Fritz says, does he feel like his group will be looking up at the bigger guilds? Fritz had one last question. Is this gonna be a short stream? Hera's guess on this is that it's gonna be a brothel update, Poggies.
Magic.
Viral says 100 mages in the dark. Garsamilli says dark magic summoner. Since we saw the NPCs in the commission stream, I could see that. If they were on the fence on if summoner was gonna even make it into Alpha 2, I wouldn't expect to see the summoner jump out this month, especially before Rogue. Hype on a stream dedicated to lighting. Yeah, there's no way they'll do a whole stream just for lighting. I'm with that too. What's that link there, Phantom? Here, let's see. But yeah, I think those are some good guesses. It's kind of hard to Midnight Magic.
I think I'm right. I'll just say that right now. No, I'm okay. So we'll pivot just a little bit. Okay. We all have kind of differing points of view, and I remember 2 months ago we had an announcement for what the live stream was going to be, and some people didn't like it. Since we don't know what it is, whatever you think it is, do you think that's worthy of a live stream?
What I think it is, honestly, I'm just gonna say whatever they put out. I'm just gonna, I don't know. I'm just gonna accept it, at least at the title. Like if Steven can tell me they're gonna do oh, I just got the link, Phantom.
Oh, that's a good one.
Steven can just tell me, hey, we're gonna do a whole stream dedicated on flower picking and herbals. I'm like, really? This close to Alpha 2, that's what you're gonna do, a stream on flower picking and how that goes? Really? And after that commission stream was surprising, after that commission stream surprised me as well as it did, I'm not going to pass judgment until I watch it. Because Steven told us it was a commission stream and it turned out to be a questing stream. So I'm just going to be like, whatever it is, it's the best stream of the year. Hey, that's what else feels.
Oh. Dude, they've been on a stretch here. It's crazy. That's funny that okay. I got a comment from Gardy here. It says midnight, maybe a special dungeon that is only open at night. See, that's kind of the route I'm going. I think a Nice's idea of a POI makes a lot of sense. I think my point of view of them just showing an area at night, like what happens. I think either one of those makes a lot of sense, because we saw it during the commission's live stream where they just showed more of the world. And my perspective at the time was, I don't know if you guys felt the same way. It was like, if that was like one of the first times in live streams where the world kind of felt like it was really coming together and you had all these different interactions from other live streams. I kind of have a feeling that going forward, that's more of what we're going to see. We're going to see Steven and the team more interacting with the world and showing what the world is capable of doing going forward.
Yes, I think that's where we're at for sure. Phantom says past 3 streams felt like they were going to be mid and all turned out very good. Yes.
Yep.
Yes. The commissions one was the one I'm like, God, really? I was like, really? This is what we're doing a whole stream dedicated to? And sure enough, it turned out to be great. So,
dude, it was better than the Caravan live stream, in my opinion.
It was. No, you know what? I agree with you. I really agree with you. That commission stream was so impressive. It made me like, I don't know. It made the world, like you said, like kind of come together, and it just made, I don't know. It built how do I say this? It immersive, I guess. It was like
Yes.
it really immersed you into that world, made you feel like, wow, this is what it's gonna be like. This is what my daily routine is gonna be like. I'm gonna do this, and then I'm gonna get distracted by this, and I'm gonna do this quest, and then there's a pack of mobs over here, blah blah blah. And I like the time to kill that I saw in there.
So Bergund, when you were watching the commission's live stream, did it seem like it was too tall of a task for you and your guild, or you've
Not at all. I mean, I love that the dwarf jokes are so prominent.
we've had some
It-
practice. We've had some practice with
I
short.
know.
So
I know. It's good. I do want to address some of them though, and in particular, I think keeping things small is keeping the numbers small is an iron thing to do. But I kind of want to give a little bit more value to what the iron coin actually is, and if I may.
Yeah.
And we can tie it into the midnight magic in a little bit, but I just wanted to note that some folks might not know what the iron coin means, and to be a member of the iron coin, you will each get a coin made for you, and in a way, it will be a membership uh, promise coin of sorts, and it will be we're creating a fixed economy within our guild, but also within, like, what does it mean to have an iron coin made for each member, and the coin itself will be a promise to each guild member, but the guild member will be able to trade it out to the server that we end up going to a member of the server,
sure.
and it will essentially be a promise that the Iron Coin Guild will fulfill whatever request the servers, the individual that on the server that has the Iron Coin, and they return it to that Iron Coin member. It will be a promise of sorts that the guild will fulfill their request. And so a group of clerics doing that has quite an interesting spin to it, I think.
Sure.
And so that was just to address some of the comments out there that were being asked.
Midnight magic.
And
Someone in
so,
chat
Midnight
said
Magic.
something. Someone in chat said, well, Vira had said, I think it has something to do with the completion of milestone 8. Hero said,
Sure.
with the moon having a giant fiery hole in it, that makes it like an eye. What if it blinked? Cracker says, I think it will be a quest/story arc that can only happen at night under the moon. That's what I'm wondering too. Or POI.
Yeah.
Didn't they say something about dungeon entrances? Oh, bro, I'm about to go down a rabbit hole. Didn't they say something about dungeon entrances like only opening at night, like certain dungeon entrances or something?
They said that some things only appear at night. Yeah. So I think your idea of like a POI appearing at night or interactions with certain mobs at night, something like that, makes a lot of sense. I think that's the route we're going to see.
Viral says it was that tweet.
Oh, I was going to say we could reference the Steven tweet anytime we want too, because I know of 2 people that you guys know about that were in it. So,
oh, is he talking about that tweet?
I don't know. That's what I kind of assumed. I'm sorry. I was reading. I just scrolled over. Sit down and take watch a dream take form function. Oh, we can bounce to that and see if it incorporates, I guess.
Okay, so the milestone 8 thing. That's what he's talking about. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm with you. I thought we was talking about the magic thing. Okay, I'm with you now. I'm with you.
Right. Steven's tweet about completing milestone 8.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, let's pull that up. I just realized this is the first stream we've had since that tweet, huh?
That's true.
Yes.
So here, let me pull up the I'm sorry, X.
Oh, right. Yeah. I don't know what to call them now if they're not tweets.
It's just something about typing that into my URL. It's just I feel like I'm gonna get like a virus on my computer. I just never feel comfortable typing x.com. I don't know. That's just never gonna feel right to me. Okay, here, let me let's see, it was Steven's tweet, right?
So guys, I have to give you guys a little down story about this, because
oh gosh.
so Steven posted this, and like Steven, I've said this before, and I've been saying this for a couple of years. One of my favorite parts about what Intrepid does, what I've noticed what they do, is they really listen to the community. I've really personally liked a lot of the last live streams. Some of the live streams, you know, I haven't liked so much, and some of them have gotten a lot of negative feedback. And Intrepid takes that, they internalize it, and then they work and they improve on their live streams to where they're just getting better and better, in my opinion. And I think they're getting better because they listen to the community. And that's something that I haven't noticed before. And so Steven posts this, and he posts this video, and Nice and I are in it. And it really caught me off guard. So a lot of content creators, as you guys might know, are also
wait, hold on 1 second else. I got loud music because Flynn just oh my god, he just invaded us with 19.
Excellent.
Thank you so much for the raid.
Thank you for the raid.
Thank you for the raid, Flynn. You guys make sure you're following Flynn on Twitch. He is the old school MMORPG. Welcome on in. Appreciate you guys being here. How you doing, Burns? Bananas, so everybody. Here to bring the good vibes. Welcome on in. Appreciate you guys. Thank you. Welcome on in, everybody. So we were, I'm sorry, Else, go ahead. He was telling the story about this tweet that Steven just put out recently.
Yeah, so he posted this. This was 6 days ago now, like right after Voices of Verra. But yeah, it's got Asmongold in it. It has Narc in it. It has me and Nice, and also Jamie is in here, and probably a few other that I'm missing. And they talk about where they're at, and basically they've finished milestone 8 and they're moving towards milestone 9. So Stevens here says, for many people, development updates on Ashes is an opportunity to check in with the project's progress. It can be exciting and a fun experience to sit down and watch a dream take form and come together. Functionally, these touch points offer a way for players to provide constructive feedback and help validate direction, but there is another side to this process that perhaps goes unnoticed. Each milestone, Intrepid comes together and celebrates our accomplishments. We reflect on the work we've done towards delivering on our goals. This culminates into a day-long town hall where we review, as a company, our strengths and weaknesses. I think this is so huge. Like companies or businesses that do this, it's very big. When I was in the military, we used to have after action reviews on missions where we would sit down and like go over everything that was good or bad. And it was like open space, like, hey, if shit went terribly, explain why it went terribly. And it was very good. I feel like this is the best way to approach things. That's why I appreciate their construction. Introspectively, we carry forward changes we need to make in order to execute better and exemplify the things that worked well. Each town hall opens with a sizzle video of our community and their thoughts on what they saw us deliver. Some may not know it, but at Intrepid, our live stream day is watching and reading what you all think of our work. That is what motivates us and why I believe Intrepid will succeed. Congrats to the team on a very successful milestone 8 completion. Onward and forward to milestone 9. So yeah, they hit
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great. And I watched the video and I'm messaging Nice in the side. I'm like, dude, hey, by the way, like you got to come check this out. Like they posted one of our podcasts. And so it was really cool to see, like they actually like went through and they do listen to the community. They do listen to feedback. They don't just pull it from us. You see them take Q&A from Reddit and from the forums. And this is just another add-on. Like, yes, they're listening to the community about the direction of the game and, you know, what we kind of think of where they're going. And I think it's really cool.
Yes, like that was a welcome surprise. Like we're in a group chat and then Else was just like it's so cool. What who was it? Was it you or Sawman said it's cool that you got featured in the video Steven posted? I'm like, I'm sorry, what? I was just typing a bunch of question marks like, what are y'all talking about? Because I happened to be driving home from work during that and I hadn't looked at my phone for I don't know, probably a good half hour. And then I was like, let me check Discord. And I'm just like, whoa, what is everyone messaging me about? I was like, what are y'all talking about? What? And then I checked and then I was like, oh, that is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah,
Here, I'll play the video for those that else if you want to play it on your end for those that haven't seen it.
Yeah, Rorier tagged me on my end. He's like, "Hey, congratulations on being in the video." And I'm like, "What video?" I was like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Yeah, you're in the video." And I was like, "Okay." And so then they linked it to me, and I was like, "Holy shit!" And then that's when I tagged you, and then Sawman saw it, and yeah, it was pretty cool.
I love this video.
Yeah, I just think it's cool. Like, not too many devs like are this in touch with their community, and I don't think you should take anything away from them because their game's not out yet. Maybe they have more time to do that. Like, just reading what else just read what Steven said. Like, this is something that they do. They put out their stream and they just sit back and listen to community feedback. And a reason I really wholeheartedly believe that is like you hear Margaret talk about it a lot, talking about how her and the community managers and their team, like, they'll compile feedback from the forums and they'll basically put it all in this report, present it to the team. Like, here's what the community is saying, here's what's going on in the community. So it's just really cool that they have this as their opening reel to the meeting per se, you know. But yeah, I'll go ahead and play it here for those that didn't. And also, Jamie commented this. Jamie Chaos of Tangents of Creation, he commented this. But I love how they didn't censor him as well. So yeah, here we go. Nart.
What up, boys? So we've just had what looks like, in my opinion, one of the best ranger classes in the MMORPG genre.
I got to see what I wanted from the ranger archetype, and then some.
Yeah, nice.
Everything that I was hoping for.
Every single month since September, I've said the exact same thing.
That part is so funny.
And that is, this is the best live stream of the year. This is the best live stream of the year. I'm going to come out and I'm just going to say it was a 10 for me.
I think it's almost done.
Who's this guy?
There we go.
Nice, no one.
He's the only one I didn't recognize.
That's really nice. That's what it's about right there.
One of the things I really love about watching this system is how long caravan runs seem to take.
I love what Jamie says here, by the way. We could probably talk about that.
I can just imagine all the emergent gameplay that's going to come from this. The roleplay side of this is fucking awesome, and I can't wait to get my hands on it.
Man, I wonder how many patrolling or roaming world bosses like Tumok there's going to be.
Right here, like, if I just pause the screen, like, if you ask me would I want to play a game like this, the answer is 100% yes.
Man, that's an inspirational freaking video, is it not?
I'm a little biased. We're building something truly special. Thank you. See, I even ignored the spelling error right here. I'm just saying. Like, I didn't even bring it up once.
So
it was very inspirational.
I feel like this video was made for the dev team.
Yes, definitely.
And the content creators are mentioned, and in some ways it kind of alludes to the hard work that all of you all do, which is so wonderful, and I'm so grateful for all the content that you guys are creating as well. But it's incredible to see this kind of thing done for the dev team. I really think this was made for the dev team in celebration.
I think so too.
Yes. Yeah, it's a celebration of their milestone 8, and who knows what that all encompasses, but that I love seeing progress. I know everybody looks good from the outside looking in. Like, right now, to me, working at Disney World probably looks like a freaking awesome job, right? Because I don't gotta work there. Like, you know, like, oh, I freaking love this place.
Yeah.
It must be awesome to sit here around Mickey Mouse all day. But, you know, and so from the outside looking in, like, Steven looks like a good boss, like recognizing his employees like this. It looks like they got a pretty fun working environment. I don't know the ins and outs of their office, but anytime you show recognition to your team, and I've known this from managing for years and years, managing employees for years and years, anytime, because I know how it makes me feel, whenever you can give recognition to your employees, because we've all worked somewhere where our hard work or going the extra mile than our coworkers was not recognized.
Absolutely.
And when someone notices it, you know, it's all gratitude don't have to come in the form of like your normal paycheck. I mean, you better give me my paycheck too. But like, it doesn't always have to come in the form of bonuses or, hey, here's a free pizza party. It's just like, hey, I noticed that you stayed 5 minutes late, or hey, I noticed that you did this. Like, I can't tell you guys, like, that goes so far with people, like the little things like that. And I think that's a freaking rule for life, right? You tell tell your spouse like, hey, I noticed that you did this, or like, oh, stuff like that. Noticing the little things or rewarding hard work or some effort that someone's putting in, it just goes so far. Even when someone doesn't succeed their goal, your friends trying to lose weight, they're still like, not where they want to be, but you notice that they're just like 10 pounds slimmer, 5 pounds slimmer, or you saw that they at least been going to the gym all week. You see them post pictures and stuff like that. It goes really far with people.
Yeah,
It's true.
I see it with like Intrepid's brought up the retention numbers, and we don't know. I don't know for sure what the retention numbers are, but like you see the interactions between like the development team and everything, and it's just I'm trying to figure out the best way to say this, because there's nothing scientific behind what I'm saying, but it sounds more when they talk to each other that they're friends, that they're coworkers, but they also sincerely like working with each other and they have that rapport. Whereas instead, like, sometimes when you're working with that one coworker, it's a lot more rigid and you're like, okay, I'll get right on it. And it doesn't seem like that. It seems like they genuinely enjoy working on this game with each other. And that's really cool to see.
And it's exciting to hear it in their voices when they're able to hop into a stream and
yes,
really get to talk about their work, and it shows. Like, they are like want to talk over Steven with excitement and like, well, oh, can I add this one point and really add to what this means as a developer for the combat or the spell effects or the art team, or and it's something that I don't think we as people do enough of, is celebrate our victories, even if they're small. I think we are so quick to point things out that don't work and or are not going well and or are things that we don't want. But when we get the opportunity to celebrate these things, and we see our captain of the team celebrating these things, whether it's a milestone 8 or the hard work that the developers are doing, or how he really does want to point them out. Steven does a great job, I think, of leading a team that wants to be there, in that he's celebrating them as often as he is.
I agree with
that.
It's
really awesome to see.
Yes. Control F midnight. So I went on the wiki and I just typed in night. And it brings up a page with all things encompassing night. First article is going to be the day and night cycle. So some things that they have mentioned, I'm just going to scroll through and look at some stuff that I guess stands out from things that we've said when we saw the message. Different monsters will spawn at different times. I mean, I think that's common with most MMOs. Different emissive effects may be more prevalent on night creatures. Okay. Certain creatures will react differently. Certain spawns react differently during night times and different day and night cycles. Those might also influence things like abilities and or buff/debuff vulnerabilities. You'll have to find out based on the type of creature you are experiencing.
Yep.
Constellations and moons rotate and change throughout the night. I'm looking for the one about the dungeon entrance, and I cannot find it. It might be under POIs, but maybe I'll just go back to the dungeon page I was just on. But I know they said they said it somewhere. They said something about like some dungeon entrances might be visible at night or something like that. I thought I could have sworn I saw that somewhere. Maybe I'm making it up.
I remember that being about
Oh, you did? Okay.
weather systems. Maybe, like because it's frozen over or something like that. I'm curious to see this quote.
Okay, Viral said he put it in the Discord, so
okay.
Perfect. I see what you say. Okay. So here, I'll pull this image up. Check general chat of the Voices of Verra Discord. There we go.
Here.
So there's a tweet there. So this was on Twitter. Someone named Brandon said, "I think this would be an epic way to hide a secret dungeon/cave." And then the team responded, "Who is to say that we have not done this already?" Which tweet is this from?
Yeah, I missed this. This is great.
It's April 12th, 2024. So probably whatever that day is.
4 days ago.
Yep. Yeah, that's when it was posted by Viral.
Well, no, I got the tweet, but where's the tweet that the message that this tweet is in? Like,
Yeah.
what was the video that they posted?
Well, I'm assuming it's the tweet from the 12th. I can look.
Bananas, thanks for the follow. Oh, same day. Gotcha.
That's what I would guess. Yeah, or the day before.
Here, let's see if I can pull that up.
Also, everybody in Voices of Verra, we really appreciate your help. This isn't the first time people were able to tag stuff on the fly that we were able to post on the podcast. So yeah, like Nice and I never claim to know everything about this game. I mean, maybe sometimes we do, but most of the time we don't believe that. We're actually pretty humble. And so it's really nice to like, we kind of group think and pool together everything we know. And, you know, we're able to get this stuff out to the community. So thank you, Viral. I really appreciate it.
Yes,
There's
appreciate
so
that.
much. There's so much about this game. There's so much within the community that's, whether it's YouTube comments from Steven or Twitch comments, or it's hard to keep up with it all.
Yeah, you gotta love how interactive they are with their community. And this is a take I made way long ago. This is probably within our first couple of episodes, especially when MMO Throne and Liberty wasn't even out yet, even in Korea. One thing that I said before we even got a look at Throne and Liberty was, you know, there's no community around that game, or there wasn't a community around that game. You know, it's kind of weird for a game to have a community before it's out. It's kind of weird that we're doing this show every week, so excited about this game, and that's because of the state of the genre. But like, it takes a really ambitious and an ambitious project for one, and it takes a really good team to build a community before launch. Like, I don't know if pre-launch Stone and Liberty had like discords and guilds and all this extra stuff dedicated to it to this extent. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if it was this anticipated. There wasn't everybody talking about it. It wasn't this level of hype. And Viral posted that link. I'll try to grab that here.
I just sent it to you also.
Oh, perfect.
I don't know who beat you to it, but yeah, it's the tweet that's about the destructible environment. And so the original post is talking about how this would be a great way to hide secret dungeon or cave entrance.
Nice.
Oh, it totally would.
Yeah.
You could blow something up with a smash from the fighter abilities.
Yeah.
That's really cool that they had that in the MMO. It reminds me of maybe they won't Elden Ring us. You know, you had the destructible or the invisible walls, or some that you got to hit multiple times. Like, that'll be very interesting.
Yeah, or the Lord of the Rings say friend and enter when they enter into Moria. Do you like that dwarf reference? Let's go. You gotta keep it relevant, right?
Dwarfs.
Come on.
So let's get back on the subject of the guild. If you are joining us late, we are joined by Bergund of the Iron Coin Guild. Just asking him some questions. If you are interested in joining or in anything with the recruitment process, be sure to message him on Discord. Oh wait, Warrior here says EverQuest had walls you could walk through and you would have never known unless you tried, led to secret bosses and whatnot. So cool. That's really cool. Oh, you know what that also reminds me of how the rogue is gonna have like a special utility skill to find this. You know what? I just thought about this. Have we seen utility skills yet? It's been a while since that's been brought up or spoken on. I could have sworn the last thing may have been the Ranger, something with tracking.
I think the Ranger had something about it, but there was also the dev discussion that they had posted asking folks to write on in the forums about what kind of utility skills you'd like to see. It was a great forum post. I
Yeah,
love
some
utility
some
skills.
cool ideas. Yeah, I maybe I mean it's not something I feel like we have to see right now. If anything, it'll be fun to discover in Alpha 2, but I really wonder to what extent they're going to go with that. Like, what archetypes are going to have which utility skill? Because
Yeah.
I don't know. That's something that seems really D&D slash interesting to me. So back on the subject of guild, else did you have another guild question you want to get to before mine?
No, I do not.
Paranaut says, "Will your guild have a Slayer cult? What is that?"
What?
So it's a dwarf reference. Ugh, you
We ju-
cultureless swine.
We just wouldn't understand.
That's
you
right.
you people and your slang.
What do you mean, you
Yeah.
people?
So a Slayer cult in a way, yes. There is some interests that come from Slayers in dwarf culture, as they were sort of cast out from their group, and Slayers are looking to redeem themselves in a way. So that was kind of like a very early inspiration. But not necessarily in the sense that we are going to be killing others blindly in a rage, so to speak. So it's not quite the exact same, but there is a lot of inspiration that comes from the Slayer mentality, and as far as redeeming themselves.
Sure.
Nice. I would like to. Oh, great! I forgot the question I was going to ask. You know what? I'll just jump to this one. Okay, never mind. It just came back to me. So, you're a PI member, correct? A Phoenix Initiative member?
I am, yes.
Would you change that if you can go back and be like, no, don't become a PI? Do you regret your decision, or was there times where you may have regretted joining the Phoenix Initiative program, or did you wish you had waited, or
I think from the very beginning, when I first heard Steven starting to talk about this idea of a game without a board of directors, without the pay to win aspects that are toxifying a lot of our modern MMOs, I just loved what he was doing. He was a player, a gamer himself, and just wanted what it sounded like, wanted to create this new opportunity. And from the beginning of the Kickstarter, when I was an EverQuest 2 fanboy from long time ago, and seeing that EverQuest 2 had developers and Mr. Bacon was a part of the team at the time, I don't have any regrets at all.
nice.
I know that things have changed since, and Mr. Bacon is now with I think it's Amazon Game Studios, but
Myra
I
with the gifted sub. Thank you so much, buddy.
what a kind gesture. And but yes, I think no matter what happens, just wanting to support a game with the kind of passion that I saw in the Kickstarter from way back when, it was worth supporting. And I hope all things go well for the game, but it was a worthy thing to support back then, and still is today.
Glenn, thank you so much. Appreciate that, buddy. All right. Oops, that is the sound of my own voice. Ugh. Here, let me pull this up. There we go. All right, so now we're gonna get into the juicy stuff, the drama. So we had a leader of a different dwarf guild on here recently, And they gave their side of the story because apparently you were a member of the Dun Guild, if I recall correctly, and you guys just weren't seeing eye to eye on something. He explained roughly what had happened between you two, but you were in chat that day. But you had a different story. You said that's not the whole story or something like that, or you couldn't wait to tell your side. And what I'm going to do now is give you that time to tell your side, or if you want to clear things up, or if you kind of just leave it in your hands on how you want to deliver that. He said short drama.
All right, everybody have your tea. Make sure it's well steeped.
You know what? I'm sorry. Bergund, don't hate me. I literally just came from the movie theater. I saw Godzilla and King Kong. So I literally have popcorn for this. So I'm gonna
Grab
give me
your
20 seconds to run upstairs. I got chat. I gotta get my popcorn. You guys get your popcorn. I'll be right back.
Oh my.
Yep, yeah, we will respect that. I can be patient.
He's not lying either. He messaged me and he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna go watch Godzilla." I was like, "All right, sounds good."
The new Godzilla, right, with King Kong?
Yeah. He said he was gonna watch it today when the kids got off of school. So I haven't seen it yet myself.
I haven't either. I was actually thinking of going to see that I hear A24 came out with a new movie as well, but
Okay.
All right, I am back and snacking.
actual popcorn. Okay, great. And yes, Laughables, I have played Return to Moria.
Did he cut out for you?
Just wanted to touch on this lightly. I have no ill will towards Dunehold. I love them and always will. But yeah, there was just a change of heart at some point over the holidays, and things had to, I guess, things came to a head for the leadership of Dunehold, and they made some decisions that came as a surprise to me. And so the Dunehold and I have had a long-standing relationship. I was one of the members of leadership.
You were
For
one
a
of the
good-
members of leadership?
Yep.
Okay.
And it was a really incredible time being a part of that. And in some ways, I'm just very thankful for how things have progressed, because it brought incredible meaning and purpose to what the Iron Coin has become and is now. In that, like I had mentioned earlier, this rite of passage, and not only are we all clerics, but we're also going to be very interested in the god of fate. Fate being something that we can let others define for us, and fate's kind of just happening in life. And you know, if we let it, folks can kind of define our fates for us. But what I was hoping to create with the Iron Coin was this opportunity for folks who have gone through an ordeal recently, to have an opportunity to create their own fate, and be through intention, through making decisions for themselves and going through a rite of passage. There's an opportunity to change how what someone else may have tried writing in to your fate or my fate or
Okay.
my
So
my member's fate.
So you circled around to that. You mentioned that earlier. So would you say? So are you hinting that that guild was maybe determining your fate too much, or
No, not at all.
so what was the, I mean, if it's like super internal, you don't want to say, you don't have to say, but you said there was differences over I think you said over the changing of the year. You said there was differences between you guys, and so you separated, and that's how you started this guild. Uh, was it like small differences? Obviously, I'm thinking it had to be a big one, or you said you want to tell your side, and you've
Well,
pretty
yeah,
much mirrored what he said so far.
Oh, really? Yeah, I guess the concept of leaving that group due to wanting to um I didn't leave that group with the intention of starting my own guild, and
Gotcha,
there
gotcha.
were other decisions that were made that I am still don't have information on. But and so that over the holidays decision, I was not purview to, and I just wanted to clear the air that it was not my intention to leave Dunehold to create my own guild, but leaving Dunehold was a decision that I made, and then I decided with the group that came with me that yeah, this new thing is going to happen, and it's actually very, very exciting.
Oh, okay.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, now I don't want you to say more than you feel comfortable saying, so we'll leave it there. But so a couple members did come with you from said guild though. Okay.
Yes, there was some folks that were um wanting to support and stick with me, and I can't thank them enough. They are some really solid people, and I'm excited to develop this new the Iron Coin with them, because I trust them very much, and appreciate them coming with me on this journey.
Okay. Aberrant, yes, they are all dwarf guild, but also an all cleric. So cleric has to be your primary archetype. There was something else I was about to say. I just escaped my mind. Else, what about you?
I'm not sure what you were thinking of either.
Oh, okay. Oh man, there was something. It was something that someone had said in chat, but I can't figure out what it was. Yeah, it's not gonna come back to me. Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes, I mean, what's that saying? Sometimes when you really love something, you have to throw a dwarf, and sometimes the dwarf might not come back. It's something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Something like that.
Something like that.
I would
Yeah.
remember the question I had, but my short-term memory isn't as good as Bergund's.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I have a lot of love for the group, and I think that in some ways it was for the best, because I have now gotten this group with me now that has created this really interesting story that I'm very, very excited to be working on this new venture.
That's good.
That's
Oh,
great.
I just remembered the question, by the way. God dang it, I
great.
just forgot it again.
Oh,
Oh, yes, I remembered it again.
Great.
elves.
Okay. So my question is, will you allow any kind of dwarf in your guild? Because I remember the
Oh,
Dun
boy.
guild, they were really specific that it had to be Dunir.
Oh, I see.
And are you specific? Are you anti Nakua and want to send them back to their land, or are you like more of a you love all dwarfs?
Just clerics
Yeah,
only.
I mean, I would say any dwarf is absolutely welcome. And one thing that I think makes that special or different is that we aren't going for the same goals. Like, we're going to be much more how do you put it? Mobile, I guess, is a way of putting our
Nomadic.
Nomadic, thank you.
Nice. Oh yeah, because I remember him saying like they want to have like a node and everything like that. Okay.
Right. That's something that they're going for, and they would want to have a certain aesthetic for that node, and so it's different goals and different sort of makeup. So I've always been a big fan of Nikuin dwarves. So
All right.
depends
That's
on
good.
how devoted they are to their faith in fate, and depends on their dedication and devotion to their clerical duties.
What do
Yeah,
you think will be the next race that we see in Ashes of Creation? Like, does it make you nervous that we haven't seen dwarves in such a long time? Do you think we'll see them before Alpha 2's launch, like in one of these showcases, like how we just got the Renkai with the fighter? Do you picture like maybe the dwarf summoner making an appearance, or just them being dwarf or anything like that soon?
I mean, as much as it pains me to not see dwarfs yet, is rendered in game, there are some really talented developers, and I think they do an incredible job of teasing us throughout the years, and um, I think that the care and attention that they are giving the game is not falling short of the dwarven greatness that is to come. I have a feeling that there's going to be an incredible dwarf reveal at some point.
Say no more.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I for some reason I feel like we'd get the I don't know, like something, because I just can't help but think it's because of like well, it's actually two things. The overthinking it me is thinking like, oh, they're having trouble getting the hitboxes right. They're still making weapons for each of the classes and then having to resize each of those technically for the dwarf. That's taken a little bit of a while to get rendered properly and stuff like that. And then another part of me is like, well, uh maybe it's just not ready. I don't know. Maybe it's a hitbox issue. That's another thought I have in my head, but yeah, just because we haven't seen it in game doesn't mean it's not ready. But what I'm also wondering is this: I think the dwarf is going to be judged so much more harshly from people outside of our space. And when I say harshly, I mean to say critically. Like the Renkai is Steven or Intrepid's take on an orc, right? Like it's you can have your preferences, but you can't really say they made the Renkai look bad. The Veiloon, like, okay, that's that style of human, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure.
But your dwarf is gonna be compared to the dwarves in Lord of the Rings. Like, well, EverQuest did their dwarves like this, or this game did their dwarves like that. It don't look like a dwarf. And like people in chat right now saying they look the Alpha 1 dwarves. Yeah, you said the dwarves look like gnomes.
Yeah.
And like Warrior says, super bad. Like, I think they gotta make it really presentable. So like when we get the rogue reveal, and if they do the dwarf at the same time, how they kind of did the Renkai and the fighter, if we get something like that, that dwarf has to be on point, because that's going to be headlines for journalists everywhere. Ashes of Creation displays their finally reveals their dwarf race, and here's how it looks. And I think it's going to have a bigger telescope on it than the other race reveals would.
Yeah.
Sure.
I mean, as much as I love and invite Nikuins to consider joining the coin, I'm also really curious about how Vikings and the Nordic culture has an inspiration on the dwarves, because that's what Dunir have been stated to be based on. And
Yeah.
so Viking, Nordic / Polynesian, Southeast Asian sort of cultures are not regularly and historically or traditionally shown as dwarves, and so I'm really excited by this unique take and this unique opportunity to kind of you know, instead of WoW dwarves or EverQuest dwarves or Lord of the Rings dwarves or Tolkien dwarves in general, um, it's Ashes of Creation dwarves,
Yeah.
and what that could mean, and different lore altogether, different kinds of ways to see them. Um, I'm hopeful that it's an opportunity for something brand new. Not brand
Aberrant in
new,
chat says, if the two-handed sword looks sort of small on the bulky orc, imagine what it will look like in dwarves' hands. And I spent a lot of time talking about basic attacks, having that true AoE melee cleave and everything like that. You see it here on screen where he's just doing the basic attacks on this guy. I gotta wonder if the dwarf hitboxes are not going to be true hitboxes. Like, you're going to get hit by a great sword attack, but it looks like that great sword attack shouldn't have hit you. But that's because the dwarf has a different hitbox. Does that provide an unfair advantage to the dwarf? Will it provide a fair advantage to the dwarf when you're trying to do a basic attack and their hitboxes are smaller? These are these are reasons I'm wondering if they're still working on this behind the scenes, and maybe that's why we're not seeing them in a combat situation. I don't know. That's just me
Right.
speculating off nothing, but I wonder how they're going to do the basic attack cleaves, if they're going to make the dwarf weapons smaller than the regular versions. I don't know.
I could see it being
Yeah.
my perspective on it is like, you can definitely see there being an issue due to being shorter in stature, making sure that the armor looks right, like having the art design team go in and comb through and make sure everything looks correct. And it was the same kind of question I had when they had the Node live stream, right? And you're like, okay, I want to see the different art styles, I want to see all these things, and it just wasn't ready yet. And so I think it's reasonable to say, like, yeah, due to the stature of the dwarves, physically, not like, popularity wise, clearly they're very popular, but their actual physical stature, like, you want to make sure the armor looks good. How many times, Nice, have we played like a game where we had a shorter character and we're like, dude, the armor looks like shit on this guy. What is this?
Yeah.
So
Lore Force with the raid of 27. Let's go.
Welcome in.
Lore Forge.
I gotta
Welcome in,
turn
guys.
that raid music up. I could barely hear that raid music when it comes in. I'll turn it up higher for next stream, you guys. Thank you so much. Welcome on in, everybody. Lore Forge. Make sure you guys are following them on Twitch as well. Oh, and I know they don't have like a crazy amount to work with, but what those guys are doing with lore, make sure you find their YouTube channel as well. What they're doing with the lore is really good, like really good. You can kind of get an idea of what they're going to be doing once the game comes live. So make sure you check them out. Like, it's really cool.
I've been listening to their podcast for years, and so I'm really excited that they've added some to their team, and they're doing YouTube and turning their
Yes,
focus
sir.
towards Ashes of Creation. It's great stuff. What's up, y'all?
Welcome on in, everyone. Welcome on in. Speaking of lore, I'll admit this. I'll admit this. So when it comes to certain games, oh yeah, for sure, you guys. Yeah, I love it. Keep it up, man. Keep it up. You know what? We're gonna do a collaboration, and that kind of leads me into what I'm gonna say here. I think a lot of MMOs have a hard time roping you in or enticing you. Not a lot. I'm gonna say some. Like, I know New World else will speak to this as well. I did not give a about the lore in New World or lack thereof, because my goodness, I was not interested in that story. I'm just like, yeah, speed run me to max level so I can finally PvP,
Yep.
or that I can get into this dungeon, because you have not done a good job of roping me in to care about these characters. You just did not do a good job. Hashtag can't swim, get it trending. it just did not do that for me. I played some Throne and Liberty recently. I have to say, because of NDA purposes, that I played it in Korea. I was playing some Throne and Liberty recently, and I found that it drew me in a little bit more. I like the little art style, the cinematics. It made me care about the character.
Yep.
Most people were attracted to the Elder Scrolls Online because of the lore. From it being in the Elder Scrolls universe, kind of made it easy for them, right? I have always been the one. I'll pay attention to the main story, but if I pick up a lore book, if I get a side quest, I'm just skipping through the dialogue. Just as a show of hands, or just you guys let me know in chat, how many of you just skip through the dialogue? Depending on the game, you just like, yeah, give me my quest reward. Some reason, I just skip everything. Like, I'm just like, I got a rough idea of what's going on. You just give me a quest marker. I don't need to read this. I know that once I'm done spamming this dialogue, some quest marker is gonna pop up on my compass. I know Elden Ring's not an MMO, but that's one game that didn't do that, and they literally gave you no direction of where to go next. But that's a whole nother conversation. You don't want to read. You know what? Voice acting, which is something that Throne and Liberty has, makes that a lot easier. Allegedly. But anyways, I will say with Ashes of Creation, I am so especially because I've never played an MMO on launch day. You guys are gonna call me a youngin. You guys are gonna judge me. I've never played an MMO on launch day or when it very first came out. I played the Elder Scrolls Online when it first came out on console, but I don't know. I felt like it being in the Elder Scrolls universe and me not being so much into that I didn't care. But I say all this to say this. With Ashes of Creation, I want to like read every little tidbit of lore. Like I want to read everything. Like if I get a side quest, I want to know why I'm doing the side quest. I'm very interested in the lore of Ashes of Creation. I want to know why I'm doing what I'm doing. And something that even more so puts me into that mindset is the story arc system, man. Especially during the story arc system, I'm going to be paying attention to every decision I make, especially because of how that affects the server or maybe how it affects my character. I think that's super important.
Yeah.
I mean, to also consider I'm not sure how detailed we have any information yet, but the libraries that players can write their own books and base it on server content.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Bergund. Sorry.
No, you're fine. That was it.
Yeah, nice. I'm right there with you. My perspective on this is like, playing ESO, like I followed the main storyline, killing Molag Bal. Sorry for the spoilers, guys. That was really cool. But yeah, you do enough side quests, and it's like, go fetch this, get like 3 fucking coins, and it just was like repetitive and not very immersive. And for me, as like an Oblivion Skyrim player, I really liked with those games, I followed every side quest because every side quest was so well done. And so it's funny because it was the same thing in New World. I hopped in New World and I was like, just get me to endgame. Like, I just want to kill people because this is the only good, like, this is the only part of this game that I'm enjoying right now. And it's funny because like when I've been following the Ashes development, like it's an MMORPG. I draw comparisons to other MMORPGs I played like everybody else. And so they had their crafting live stream, they had their freeholds and they went through this stuff. I'm like, I don't care about this, man. Like, I'm going to make a sword, and that was my initial jump into the freehold thing. And then I started watching. I was like, dude, holy cow. Like, they really care about people that care about this being their main player loop. And so, it's funny because yes, I am quoted as saying like every single live stream is the best that they've had for like the last 6 months now. But there was a time where they were revealing live stream after live stream where for me, it was cool that they did it, but none of them were related to what I really like to do.
Yes.
And so I found myself like, holy cow, like they really care about this. I can't wait till I get to see what my player loop is. I can't wait till they show what mine is. And I mean, even going about questing, when I was playing Elden Ring and I was beating it for the first time, I would pull my wife in from the other room, and I would show her the cutscenes for the bosses because they were so well done. And
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey, I've died on this boss like 20 times now, but you should come check this out because it's fucking sick. and my perspective on games is if it's done well, if it's done really well, like people are going to care, and I have high hopes that they're going to do this well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Flynn had said something here. He said depends on the game as far as like reading through the lore, but depends on the game. Some games the lore is incredible. EverQuest lore got me into fantasy books and writing. Oh wow. New World though, I tried to get into the lore and found it blah. Penham says, right, you don't need to read anything, just follow the markers. And yeah, that's a lot of games spoil us. We don't really need to get into that. Had BDO at launch, Ultima Online at launch, too many. Conan Exiles. Yeah, this dude, launch for Ashes is gonna be so epic, man. Like we don't really get I mean, I guess New World was the last big MMO launch. But you don't really get to see those that I don't know. I've never gotten that launch day feel, and I read about it so much, I hear about it so much, and yeah, unless they're talking to you, you don't want to read. Depends on if the story's good. Yeah, and so with this game, I want to do it different. I know I'm probably gonna be a little excited when I get my hands on Ashes of Creation, but I'm like actually genuinely interested in the lore. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Maybe side quests. I eventually maybe the side quest. I know it's not too crazy. I skip, but even then, I'm like, nah. I'm actually interested in this world.
I mean, I do enjoy a good story. I can't deny it. I also know that I play video games, and so some of the folks that I play with aren't necessarily going to stick around and wait for me to read or read themselves, and so I have been caught lacking on the lore of games due to my interest in wanting to keep up with everyone and or make sure that I'm not slowing anyone down and that we're staying on pace and par for world's first if we're in that sort of mindset. It's a depends on the game, truly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like to piggyback off this, like obviously we're excited about Ashes, so I'm just gonna keep harping on this. But like Steven and the team, like they do their entire D&D night every November for their charity. And the thing with like playing a game like Baldur's Gate or D&D is it's all story. Like a lot of it is it's just so story driven. And the fact that Steven and Intrepid are hiding the lore from us, they're hiding all this, it really seems like this is a priority. And we very well could be wrong. Like I very well could be wrong on this, but like Steven's going into it for like, this is my favorite thing, and doing, Baldur's Gate or D&D, like it's just experiencing the story for the first time. I want the players to experience this. And that's why I think like MMO stories are so bad most of the time. Like that's not part of the reason you often get into these games, is just the story is just secondary. I think this is really primary for this game, and I think that's really cool.
Well said. I like that take. Yeah, I think we see that with the story arc system, like I was talking about, and something important that's cool with all this, you guys. I think we're gonna really want to pay attention to the story. I think they're gonna do a good job, like making you interested. And even if you're not interested, what's really cool. It's a really cool concept that a lot of players forget about, is that there's gonna be so much player-driven story, so much server-driven story, like drama and like toppling nodes and somebody PK'd the wrong guy, or you griefed my mayor and you did that. Like there's gonna be there's so much sandbox elements that we're gonna have our lore, and then we're gonna have like server lore. And I don't know if this is something I would do a series on the channel, but I would like to roughly discuss it, or maybe occasionally do a video on it. But I would like to pay attention to the Reddit or the Discord for certain specific servers. Each one's gonna have its own thing, and then like hear about the drama, put it into a video format, like maybe report it on the news, like, or just be like, hey, did you guys hear about this? Like just as like a little thing, maybe midstream we go like, hey, the gossip around Verra, like as I start the stream, like, hey, since yesterday, these guys are beefing. This guy PK'd this one. This node got sieged. They declared war on this, and this castle got overthrown. Like I think stuff like that could be it could be fun. I plan on getting a little nerdy and geeky with this game.
It'll be glorious. I hope there's like a news channel news update for each of these servers, like you might see in old high school like movies or TV shows where there was like a crew that would be on duty for reporting the latest and greatest news from server such and such.
I just sorry,
Hilarious.
I just got a comment from, I hope I say this right, Murray Lebend, and they sent me a message and I didn't know what it was, and so I did the Google Translate and says, "Greetings from Chile. We are more than 2,000 players waiting for this beautiful game in my country. Thanks for listening to the community." That's so cool.
Wow.
That is really cool. Welcome on in. That's so cool. Chile.
And Rogue SI, I totally agree. I
Yes.
think it will be something like a D&D campaign, and having a lot of tabletop gaming experience myself, that was kind of what I was hoping to do with the Iron Coin, was create this experience that folks will want to come back to and engage with as a full group of clerics. Like, what an incredible opportunity this will be for some role play, but also some PvP and also some community building and providing a service for the server at large. What does it mean to have a group of clerical mercenaries or actual like battle Templars going around?
Holy crap! You guys are literally pocket healers.
There you go.
It's funny kind of talking about this because I try to apply it to other MMOs and everything. And, you know, I'm on Twitter, or X, like we called it earlier. And a lot of the things in like the Elder Scrolls space is people like to post their characters, right? So people will post their characters doing different things. And it's, you know, they have this story behind them. And you get, when you start following a game, I don't know how many other games have this. You guys, Voices of Verra, feel free to chime in if you see this as well within your game. But like, people have these stories about their characters and stuff that they do. And I envision this being part of the reason like this game really has some reach outside of the MMORPG space, because this isn't coming from a background of a game that's been around 20 years. It's going to have to create its own story. It's going to have to create its own lore. And I think the player driven story will also branch out into other forms of social media. And so you see it with like Helldivers, right? Where Helldivers, that part of the reason I got in is because after watching like 30 different mini clips of Helldivers, I was like, dude, I got to get this game. I think I could see this game having the same type of viral spread where there's just stories or different things that happen and different player interactions, and it just spreads like wildfire, and people are like, oh, I got to go check this out. Like, I got to go try this. And that type of community growth is really generated. I butchered this. It's generated by the community, and I think it's going to be really cool to see.
Nice.
Agreed. I think it's up to us as well as a player base. Like,
Yeah.
we could just take this as a regular MMO and treat it like a regular game, but I think it's also providing a pretty unique opportunity for us to, you know, I think we've all seen folks say this is the last MMO opportunity for me, or it's all over. And if that's true, I think there's the potential for us to, you know, create some experiences that we really want to savor, and maybe not just want to I don't know, race to end game and
Yes.
do all the content as quickly as possible in the shortest amount of time, and then that was fun. I guess I'm gonna move on to X, Y, or Z.
Yes.
It being a new IP is huge. Like Elle said, they're starting from scratch. There's no source material per se. That's a real big deal. Like, to establish lore, establish rule sets, the rules of your magic and everything like that. There's obviously some stuff that's going to be traditional that we've seen in like D&D campaigns or games like, you know, that typical MMO or D&D rule set. but they have like their stories, their characters, some of their game logics. They have a chance to do all that the way they want. That's
Yeah.
just something really exciting.
Yeah, okay, so this does tie in, so I promise. You just had to give me a minute to get there. So in my Discord today, my personal Discord, I made a comment. I don't know if you guys have watched it yet or not, but I've been watching the Fallout series, the new Fallout TV show, and I played all of the Fallout games, even Fallout 76. I big fan of those games. It's not an MMORPG, but it was really cool that they took a story from a video game and they turned it into a TV show. And it's really well done so far. A lot of people in my Discord have been following and they like it as well. And it got me talking about what other games could they turn into a TV show and it would be fucking awesome, right? Like what story is so good that you'd love to see it done cinematically? And I'm not going to go through every single one that I talked about, but some of the ones that came to my mind were Gears of War, BioShock. Like BioShock would be ridiculous. I don't know if either one of you guys have played those games, but
yeah, with the young girls and the big machine.
Yeah.
Big Brothers, is that what they're called?
I think it is Brothers. I think you're right. It's been so long, but like the entire story is just so you think about these things and I started thinking about like, okay, what game has the best freaking stories? What game has it? And not a single MMORPG came into my top 10. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, man, like, it was just a random thought, like, could Ashes actually do this? Like, could Ashes actually be something that would become a story that you'd want to follow? And I think how they're approaching it makes it interesting. But yeah, wanted to hear from you guys.
That's cool. Like that was Last of Us when it got its TV series, which I think was done right. That's probably like what you're getting from Fallout right now.
Yep.
But yeah, I didn't think about that, but I don't think an MMO has done that.
It would have to be like specific server story. Sure, there's the overarching narrative that Intrepid wants to give us through Ashes of Creation, but I have a feeling it's gonna feel pretty different depending on who does it and how and when and where. Like the server stories are going to be that's the story, is how diverse.
Yeah, but you still have the core story, like coming from Sanctus and
Sure,
the Essence and everything like that. Rogue here says people better have a backstory from Sanctus coming into Verra. What did you do before you discovered the Essence? I ain't gonna lie, I'm putting all that into my character. But it might be even easier if you're a Tallnar.
Imagine the story of a level 6 divine node with only certain number of temples there, and the Pantheon being such a big part of the lore. If some temples are overly chosen by the mayors in these places, that could create a pretty interesting story.
Yeah, little things like that, like we were talking about earlier with the sandbox elements and stuff like that. That's gonna be some fun stories. I think we're gonna see like really fun videos. Like we've talked about it on this show before, but the stories that come out of like WoW hardcore or those WoW hardcore griefings, like stuff like that, are all really really good. I'm trying to pronounce that. Hurricane, welcome on. He says animated video, songs, or series. Like Riot did a World Championship song, an animated video had a character fighting across different opponents to win the World Champion. See that stuff like that. That's really cool.
Yeah, and I mean, Last of Us is another perfect example. There's some games that can transcend being just games.
Yes, man.
And so it's kind of cool. Obviously we can keep talking about this, but I wouldn't be against hearing your guys' opinion on like your favorite game turned TV show, like what you would like to see. So, because some stories are so good that it can cross genres. So,
yeah. Mine would be
Legend of Zelda.
That was in my top 10. I agree with you.
Let me think.
Legend of Zelda would be so good as a TV show. Hour-long episodes, just forever.
I'll give you.
It's too good to limit.
Okay, I got
Yeah.
one. I got one.
Okay.
This is one I think would make a good TV show or a good movie. So, it's the Spider-Man game on PS4. I think if they did Spider-Man like his own series or movie, it could
Okay.
be.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
But no, in all seriousness, I feel like I got spoiled. I already had mine done with The Last of Us. And
Sure.
so I think that one's be mine. Other than that, even though I didn't get the last one or two Mortal Kombat, two Mortal Kombats. I used to be a huge Mortal Kombat geek, tournaments and everything like that. I still have watched the last two story mode playthroughs of the last two Mortal Kombats on YouTube. Even without playing the game, I just like watch the story, just watch
Sure.
it like a freaking movie, like a 3-hour movie on YouTube. Because I genuinely love the Mortal Kombat lore. I'm a freaking Mortal Kombat lore geek. I love what they've done. But that would be if Last of Us hadn't happened, I'd give that to Mortal Kombat. You got some animated movies and stuff like that, some terrible movies, but that's the one I like seeing. But yeah, Last of Us for me.
Here's the top 10 that I posted. Number 1 for me was Gears of War. I don't know if you guys know much about the game, but basically there's bugs or aliens from underground that come up and dominate the world. And then
Helldivers 1.
Yeah. Baldur's Gate 3, BioShock, Assassin's Creed. The first for me would be the first one. So like going back in time and being an assassin at any point, I think that'd be a great TV show. This was
I agree.
Mario Party, but realistic. So like kind of like a Squid Game style Mario Party. Bowser takes you and like if you die in like a party, like you actually like it's a serious thing. So you make Mario Party dark. I think that would be fucking epic.
I can see it.
Oblivion, Skyrim, Zelda, God of War, and then Excitebike.
Oh, God of War. God of War would be great.
I really like Fable. I like.
Oh yeah.
Rogue.
Somebody said a Halo series. They're doing that, right? Is it that bad that you guys are just gonna pretend it doesn't exist?
CW says not sure if it was mentioned, but I would love a Mass Effect TV series. I only played the first Mass Effect, so I don't know the story very well.
The Division 2, the Division series actually, I think would be a pretty awesome TV show.
I could see that, like going dark into like a random area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dark Zone.
Yeah, that'd be pretty
Dark
cool.
Zone
That'd be
TV
very cool.
series.
But I guess we're closing in on 2 hours here. Oh wait, Rogue said Red Dead. He said Yellowstone. We're closing in on 2 hours. Appreciate you guys being here. We're gonna start wrapping up here shortly. Thank you everyone that rated us tonight. We really appreciate it. Shout out to all of you guys.
Yeah, the time flew.
And everybody that came in with them. Really appreciate you guys. Somebody said Devil May Cry. Oh gosh, I feel so ashamed. Else,
what,
bro? We should both be ashamed.
What?
Else, you're gonna punch yourself. You better smack yourself when I say this, because I'm gonna smack myself. I'm smacking myself right now, bro. Game to TV series or movie? How wasn't Elden Ring the first thing out of my mouth?
Yeah, I was gonna say Elden Ring, but I wasn't sure if it was gonna be too dark.
Elden Ring
would be pretty dope.
Dude, that would be mine. That would be mine right there. Holy crap.
I set it up for you and you said Spider-Man and you just ruined it.
Man, Spider-Man PS4 was so good. It needs its own series.
It's game of the year.
Have you guys watched Arcane? Unironically, the best character writing of any show. I haven't heard of Arcane.
I've never heard of Arcane either.
Arcane from League of Legends. That
Am I gonna get yelled at for not knowing this? I'm gonna look it up now.
No,
Sorry guys, I'm
pulling
it up on my phone. Arcane. It's a TV show? Animated series.
Animated series. I've never heard of that one.
Oh, it's on Netflix. I'll check it out. The origins of two iconic league champions set in the utopian Piltover and the oppressed underground of Zaun. I have no idea. 9 out of 10 on IMDb. 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Okay, that says a lot.
Yeah, it's got Haley Steinfeld in it. Okay. Sign me up.
But we're gonna call it there, chat. Once again, shout out to Is There No One Else? Thank you all for being here. We could not do this without you, the Voices of Verra. Thank you so much to our special guest today, Bergund of the Iron Coin Dwarf Cleric Guild. I'll let you get the closing remarks, and then we'll go ahead and end it here.
Well, I just want to. Well, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, if you guys want to find him, he's in the official Ashes of Creation Discord. You should be able to type and find him.
Yeah, give me a shout out. Happy to chat with anyone that's interested in learning more about the Iron Coin. I'm looking forward to this game being something that I hope to experience with the lot of you for years and years to come. And here's to doing our part in making the community as strong as it is already. Cheers to both of you. Is there no one else? And nice. It's been a great pleasure being a part of this community with you guys so far, and it was a real pleasure to be on your show today. So all you out there, happy gaming. Can't wait to get into it with you all some more. And yeah, feel free to send me a message.
Yes, sir.
Sounds good. Thanks for joining on, especially on relatively short notice too. So
Yeah, I'm glad I could make it. It's been a full week. I got a puppy 2 weeks ago, so.
Oh, yeah.
Sick. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, good times.
Gotta love the midnight crying. It's a good time.
That's what Midnight Magic is.
It's actually Steven bragging that he got a puppy. Unbelievable.
Exactly.
Clitian says, I appreciate the dwarf perspective. As an elf main, go back to the dirt. And we'll end it on that note. Thank you guys so much, and peace.